Real estate in Slovenia. Questions and answers. Part 1. Purchasing a fully built shopping centre. In this series, we are going to evaluate investments in shopping centres in Slovenia, answer questions. Who is selling them and why? Understand how to get a loan to purchase an asset. And we will start by looking at the reasons for the growth in the retail sector in Slovenia. The economic situation in Slovenia is improving. GDP increased to 4.4% in 2017 and it is projected to be 3.9% for 2018. The country is experiencing stable economic growth. The purchasing power of Slovenians has grown over recent years and it will continue to do so. The Feel-Good Index, which measures consumer optimism, increased by 8% in November alone, and it has now reached pre-2008 levels. In Slovenia, the level of consumption of non-comestible goods is increasing. Which retail locations are most sought after in Slovenia? Does the heightened competition in retail market represent a potential risk for investors? Notable incursions into the Slovenian retail market have come from Austrian and German companies. These range from small-scale enterprises to global giants. They require floor space with areas ranging from 200 to many thousands of square meters. There has not been a single case of retail investors quitting the Slovenian market. Last year, we ascertained that towns with populations of up to 10,000 people were being targeted by these companies. This year, towns with 5,000 inhabitants are attracting interest from some retailers. Large retailers such as Teddy, Kik and Pepco are expanding deeper into the country. These are stores selling not only clothing and textiles, but also consumer durables. The best tenants are international companies with outlets in 4 to 5 different countries who are already familiar with the European market. Such companies include retailers of a variety of products, from footwear to textiles to foodstuffs. Let's consider the retail territory of Litija, a small town half an hour's drive from Ljubljana. Here, existing commercial sites are being sold and developed, but no new commercial districts are appearing. This is a typical retail district in a small Slovenian town. There is no likelihood of another such district appearing here in the near future. The district can be reconstructed and further developed, and the tenant mix can be altered, but to develop a second commercial district for a town of only 3,000 to 4,000 inhabitants is impractical. Which regions in Slovenia are the most desirable for retail shop tenants? Usually we identify the most profitable regions in the country as being the coast and Ljubljana. However, large retail chains have occupied all of the viable sites in the large cities, and they are now largely focused on suburbia and the provinces. Demographic areas where target consumers live and work can generate much greater revenue than, say, for instance, a city like Ljubljana. A territory in Ljubljana, a small town in northeastern Slovenia, can serve as an example. Ljubljana has 4,000 inhabitants. Everyone wants to buy clothes and necessary household goods locally. They do not want to go to the nearest major city. Here is an example of a good shopping centre. 3 tenants work in one segment. Consumers' purchasing power is sufficient for tenants to make a decent profit. Given that the tenancies are desirable, why are landlords offloading their retail sites? There are various reasons for offloading. It could be that a large-scale company wants to diversify by selling off assets in order to invest in other business. Alternatively, local Austrian or Slovenian developers may buy up land plots, create projects, and attract tenants in order to sell on these facilities to investors as a way of earning money. How much does a fully built shopping centre cost in Slovenia? You can buy a shopping centre with one major tenant, or a premises with a tenant in a large shopping centre or a number of premises. The options are numerous. On price, they can range from 250,000 for a small shop with a tenancy and from 500 to 700,000 for a premises with a good major retailer. A large shopping centre of approximately 1,000 square meters with a tenant will cost about 1.3 million euros. Large shopping centres with tenants are available on the market but are quickly sold. An example is a facility in Murska Sobota, near the Austrian border. For Slovenia, this sale price is expensive. This is a giant facility for such a small town as Murska Sobota. It is owned by a large concern, which is now selling it because it is not a core asset. Such facilities are sold rarely. Can I count on a loan when purchasing a shopping centre? For banks, such projects are very profitable and interesting. Of course, you will be required to provide all data, including administrative documents and rental agreements, in order for the bank to calculate profitability and therefore loan security. A bank often demands the property to be assessed. It is also important to demonstrate the source of the funding by means of which the new client has achieved the equity capital for the acquisition. What is important to consider when evaluating a shopping centre? The duration and terms and conditions of the rental agreement can also be critical in acquiring a loan. It is advisable to enter into an agreement for 5 years, subject to an extension for another 5 years, or a 10-year agreement with an option to cancel it after 7 or 8 years. Such agreements are standard for European companies. Firstly, it is important to look at the tenant, learn what kind of company it is, including its representation on the Slovenian market. Then, the rental agreement needs to be evaluated. Currently, a good rental agreement is 1 over 10 years with a non-cancellation period clause. Such terms and conditions are generally stipulated for new retail acquisitions. Furthermore, the state of the building must be looked at in order to establish whether reconstruction will be required in the near future. The most profitable option is to buy a facility with tenants already running their businesses there. In such cases, an investor will have a largely financial involvement in the running of the project. Nevertheless, the investor will need a team to manage the retail site and deal with any problems that arise.